Alright, hello, Mr. Nygren here. Welcome back to another video. It's been over 2 weeks since the last video where I played a battle as Huron against a settlement of Sand Crab Co. held by Ampelus crabs. Haven't uploaded any videos since. So, since then I've done some modding on the mod, Hyrule War Classic Ultimate, my submod from the Nephilims mod or Ice Cream Ants mod, Hyrule War, released in December 2014. My submod was first released in December of 2019. And the last release was released on July 31st, 2021. There's another version coming and it's almost finished actually. I uploaded my latest and last, I believe, final backup, I believe 12 hours ago or something. Anyway, I'm playtesting right now because I've added a script. You see, when Queen Midna of the Forces of the Twilight, there are two factions of the Twilight in this mod. We have the Forces of the Twilight under Prince Sant with the red banners here. I'm currently controlling them. I'm playing as both in hot seat here, play testing. And then we have the Forces of the Twilight under Queen Midna with the real colors. She is the queen of the Twilight realm, but Prince Sant, his father, used to be king. He was robbed of his throne because his father rebelled against the great fairies and they killed him and made Midna queen, and Prince Sant kind of lost his throne, and that's why there is like a civil war between Sant and Midna here, so you can pick one of them and fight the other, or you can play hot seat and play as both. I play hot seat right now because I'm trying out my scripts. So I've added a final script to the Midna faction, and basically when Queen Midna loses the war and surrenders to Prince Sant, Sant needs to hold all the areas in the Twilight realm, the Palace of Twilight over here, where Midna is, and then Usu, Valran and Elmencia. Then Sant holds all of these areas, and if Midna is dead, then one turn later, all the generals, unique generals of Midna, which is Una the Brave here, and any generic general, any generic troops, they will join Sant one turn later. And then Midna will spawn at Arbeitergrounds in Hyrule, in the Gerudo Desert, because Sant didn't kill Midna. Instead he transformed her into a foul imp and banished her the portal, taking her to Hyrule and Arbeitergrounds in the Gerudo Desert. And if you play as Midna, because it only happens if you play as Midna, you can also play hot seat where you play both, it will still happen. Then you will control Midna, and you will start with like a bodyguard unit of repentance, and you have 3 other units of repentance. In the past that was all that you had, and then you need to travel Hyrule and hire mercenaries so that you can conquer areas in Hyrule, and then you could build up a Twilight army again from cities, and then you can rebuild a portal from Arbeitergrounds in the desert, start next to Arbeitergrounds, so that's the area you need to hold. But it has like a huge Gerudo rebel army there, so you wouldn't be able to conquer it with just 4 units. Your goal is to build up an army and go back to the Twilight realm and kill Sant, take back your throne. But the script to, and by the way, I add a link to the faction too. So Midna will be reinforced by Link, who spawns with like I believe 6 units, mercenary units. His bodyguard is probably as far as I recall, an Aquadongo Yoki's bodyguard, so Tukey, mounted Tukey, so it's a cavalry unit. The Forces of the Twilight do not have cavalry. Oh, by the way, that reminded me, I will need to add the Tukey mounted unit, the Aquadongo Yoki's, as a mercenary unit. It's the only Tukey unit that isn't available as a mercenary unit in the game, but I feel like we need a mercenary cavalry unit in this mod, so that factions that do not have cavalry, like Huron, Tukey, have 1 unit. But Huron, Sabrosha, Huskus Remnants, Suna, they only have they only have infantry, even though the Suna, they have really good other units, like the Suna Cigarettes, they count as cavalry, but they are more like a tank. But the Husky's Remnants and the Zebrosians and the Huronians, they do not have anything but infantry, so by hiring mercenaries they could get like range units, crossbowmen and archers and such, but or at least crossbowmen, but I believe they never got any cavalry. I added Link to Huron, and he came with, I believe, 3 units of cavalry, 2 units of cavalry, and then his bodyguard. But besides Link, they do not have any cavalry, and yeah, I will probably make the Aquadongojokis available as mercenaries, so that factions without cavalry can get the Aquadongojokis. They are both melee and ranged cavalry. They are javelin throwing cavalry with spears and melee, so they can fight in melee and they can throw spears from afar. They are pretty good, actually. The only good Toki unit, and the only one that wasn't available when as a mercenary for every faction. I believe they count as mercenaries in the game files, but they are not available in the mercenary slot. So I will add them there. Say I want factions like Huron and Zebrosha to be able to get cavalry. Oh, by the way, Zebrosha has cavalry, I forgot. They have really good melee cavalry, actually. But they do not have any ranged cavalry, and they do not have any ranged units. So they lack ranged units, and Huron lacks both ranged units and cavalry. Okay, but anyway, the Force of the Twilight Midda will spawn, and she's reinforced by Link and some mercenaries, and that's it. You can build an army, you can conquer areas in Hyrule, you can take back the Twilight Realm, but she will always remain as Midna. And that's a little bit boring, so I added a script that when you return to the Twilight Realm and conquer all of the areas here as Midna and kill Prince Sant or King Sant, both King Sant and Prince Sant needs to be dead. He is Prince Sant during the Civil War, he becomes King Sant after, I believe. Maybe that script is not in the game either. I believe that when the AI Sant faction spawns, when the AI is controlling the faction, then he is controlled by King Sant, which is a model with a helmet, and Prince Sant doesn't have a helmet. But as the player, when you win the war, I don't believe he changes his model. I might actually change that, we'll see. So Sant might also get the new script where if you win the war, he will get his King Sant model where you have a helmet on instead of throwing his face. I don't know, I may do it, maybe not, because I like the model with his face. It's newer. I believe the old one was from 2011, the one with the helmet, the King model, and then the other one was from 2014, so it's actually more recent. So I might not want to replace it, I don't know. There is a possibility I will make it so that you start with Prince Sant, and when you have won the war against Midna, he will become King Sant. We'll see about that. But I've added a similar script to Midna, so when she takes all of the areas here and kill Prince Sant, so when there is no Prince or King Sant in the game, and when you hold all the Twilight Realm areas as Imp Midna, if you play as the Forces of the Twilight under Midna, then you will turn back into Queen Midna again. And Queen Midna in the early game has a bodyguard of Twilight Infantry, the generic bodyguard of the Twilight faction. Really bad infantry bodyguard is their generic unit, the basic unit. It's this unit. It's a bodyguard. Okay, but Imp Midna actually has Repentance, a different infantry unit, a female unit. I believe these guys are not females, they are constructs, I believe. Because there are no males here except Sant, I believe. Because the Twilight Forces, I believe, the Gyarados female faction, the Fairies of Tarm and the Shreka, all of them female, they banished the criminals of their factions to the Twilight Realm, and that's how the Twilight Realm was created. And in the Twilight Realm there are a lot of insects and such. But yeah, the Fairies, the Gyarados and the Shreka, they were women, so that's why the Twilight people should be women too, but that doesn't explain how Sant is a man. So I don't know. Maybe there are some men there too, but yeah, it doesn't make much sense, seeing as all the factions that got banished here were women only, pretty much. Then, of course, they took some insects from Hyrule here too. It got changed by the environment. I believe 1,000 years in this realm is like only 1 or so year in Hyrule, so that's how they can it can pass like generations in the Twilight realm, while nothing has changed in Hyrule during that whole time. Okay, so yeah, anyway, the Repentance is a better infantry unit and a unique unit to the Midna faction before the war is over. I believe before anyone has won the Civil War, Sant only has access to his half of the roster, and Midna has access to the other half, and Sant's units use a red skin. Then there are some units that are unique to Midna that do not have red skins, like the Repentants. They are available to Sant after he has won the war, so when Midna surrenders, Sant will get those units, but if Midna do not surrender, then Sant won't get her units and won't be able to recruit her units either. Okay, and the Midna has a Repentance bodyguard instead of the Twilight infantry that she had in the beginning. And when she returns back into Queen Midna, she will still have the Repentance bodyguard, not the old bodyguard. So you will have Queen Midna with the Repentance bodyguard. Okay, then there was a Princess Midna model too. Probably the one originally intended to be the one she transforms back into. She started with Queen Midna, and then she is transformed into an imp, and then she turns back into Princess Midna. And I made a strat model for, converted the battle model of that model too, but I were out of hero slots. Because Olg, the insect pet of Sant, I added the feature that Olg would switch sides when Sant was killed and join Midna. Because of that I didn't have room for the Princess Midna model. Because Sant automatically will switch side, because all the units of Sant will switch sides when Sant surrenders. So then I thought it's better to make a model of Olg for Sant and then add it to Midna too. That stole the spot from Princess Midna, but the Princess Midna model is pretty much the same model as Queen Midna, just with a cloak over her hair, while the Queen Midna model has armor and shows her hair, and I prefer the Queen Midna model over the Princess Midna model, so I use the Queen Midna model for both, especially since I were out of slots. I couldn't add the Princess Midna model anyway, unless I removed Olg or someone else from the Midna faction as a unique hero on the map. So you would have a generic general on the map. This is the generic general, and this is the new soldier of Sant, Bone Mold Monks with a fixed texture by Codeman. Okay, we have other Twilight faction with the same general with a different skin, using the Repentance as the soldier. We have Una here, custom hero. If the forces of the Twilight, she will join Sant and Midna surrenders. The only custom hero of Midna. Start. We have Sant here, Prince Sant. So this is Prince Sant from 2014. There were an older model of King Sant where he has a helmet over his face, which I'm using for the AI when he spawns in the campaign. I might add a script so that Prince Sant will put on the helmet whenever he has won this civil war, and then when you invade Hyrule you have King Sant instead, but then you won't get to see his face anymore, then you will have a helmet. You have Dark Onox, and by the way I've resized Undead Onox too for the Stalfos, and the Undead heroes work too now. Okay, we have Argrok the Dragon, we have Olg, Sant's pet. Okay, and all of these heroes except Sant will join Midna if Sant surrenders, but we are not gonna let Sant surrender here because we are trying out the Midna script here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just fight this battle for fun, see who wins. So Midna has the better armor, but we have the numbers. We are not letting any of the custom heroes be in the battle. They also want to try out if they work as intended. I know they work as intended, but they might want to take some pictures. Okay, because I had an old updated picture before I fixed this Bone of Monk, so I might take new pictures of Sand and his army and new models. Because I want these guys to look good on the picture. I don't want them to be the bugged versions, you know. Ever since the first release of Hyrule to War by Undying Nephilim or Ice Cream Man back in, I believe, the custom battle demo released in March or May 2011, but they could only play custom battles. I had that version too, but the first release with the campaign released in September 2012, and ever since then the Bonewood Monks had a bugged texture. It looked very bad, but they looked good on actual pictures. See, this is the Midna version. So they had this texture here, green hair and such. But in the game they had, I believe Sand's version has grey hair. But now also Midna has grey hair, because this texture was somehow lost or remade later. But this part of the texture was missing in the file, in the texture file. But the hero, Lady Midi, which is a Sand hero, I believe she is currently inside of, yeah, she's here. This hero, she had the texture for the skirt here, and it worked well for the Bonewood Monks. It had just never been moved over to the other texture used by the Bonewood Monks, but it worked fine when I used it. Didn't want her to look exactly like the hero too, but yeah, Codeman made a Sand skin, and he remade the Lady Midi skin to be more like these colors, greenish instead of bluish. These are more blue. These are of course the ones that were originally intended by Undying Nephilim, but somehow got lost somehow. So it looks a little bit different. It looks like the hero to some degree, but with a slightly different color. Okay. And the Sand faction looks like this. Okay, so yeah, the heroes will switch sides depending on who wins and loses and who surrenders and not. And we wanted to play this battle. So the Sand faction that I'm controlling right now has General Validna here, with an army of very basic troops. They have, as far as I can see, 7 units of shadow insects, 200 soldiers. They are very numerous, one of the more numerous units in the game. 1 attack, really bad. Charge bonus 2. 1 total defense, very bad. They can frighten nearby enemies, can't hide. Poor morale, fast moving, can fly. Yeah, shadow insects fly. They are scarabs. They are really cool, actually. They are really good flying animations too. They are not good. They easily break and such, but they are numerous. Okay, then we have the generic soldier, the Twilight infantry, the old soldier on the map, but instead of using this soldier with different skins, I decided to use 2 completely different models for the Twilight factions. Even though I thought this guy looked good for Sand, he looked evil, but it made more sense to let the Bonewood Monks be the soldier, as Sand had very few of the Twilight infantry that were loyal to his father that joined him, while most of his army consisted of insects actually, and Bonewood Monks, because he bested Lady Midi here, and she bent the knee to him and joined. We are gonna see that movie again when I start the campaign as the Twilight faction. I'm not gonna do that now, because this is not the finished version of the submod. It's the almost finished version. I'm trying out the script. I'm gonna play this battle for fun, but there are a few other things I want to do as well. I believe that King Sand script might be added, and then there might be something else. Maybe a soldier or captain might be updated to a better model. I believe the battle models sometimes look better than the strat models. The old strat models may lack their swords and such or details, while the battle models have more details. It's worth it to replace the soldiers with the better looking version of the model from battle. Okay, we didn't want the heroes to be in the battles because they can die. Okay, but we wanted a generic general and our troops to fight, so we had the Shadow Insects, and that's a sand unique unit in the beginning of the game. Midna can't get them. Then we have the Twilight Infantry, they are used by both factions. Basic Infantry, 6 attack, 2 shot bonus, 9 defense, can do skill from, bonus fighting cavalry, good morale, can't hide. So the Twilight faction do not have cavalry except giant cavalry. And I believe Midna has spiders that count as light cavalry, so they have a cavalry unit, but no real cavalry where you ride something. And these guys are good counter cavalry because they needed units against cavalry. They do not have much cavalry themselves. The older releases the spider unit that is their cavalry, only available to Midna before she has surrendered. Then Sant will get access to that unit, but that unit had an issue where it was like 2 or 4 units in a unit instead of 137 because they counted as an elephant or something. So I had reduced their numbers, not knowing it was this unit. Okay, so Sant has Twilight Infantry and Shadow Insects, and then they have 1 unit of Shadow Kargaroks. Attack, 2 shot bonus, 3 total defense. So these units and some other units in this mod were really annoying because they had a horde formation, which there are 2 formations. There is the square formation for units and the horde formation. Square means they are in a line, they stand in a square or line. If you use the horde formation, then they are in a ring and are much more spread out, like much more disoriented, much more disorganized. But the problem with the horde formation is that most of the time when you have an army reinforcing you in the battle, they get stuck when they are trying to enter the battlefield. They get stuck and will not be able to enter the battlefield. And that's an issue with almost every unit that uses the horde formation. That's why I removed that formation in Warcraft to the War and in other mods, and I have finally removed it from Hyrule to the War too. So expect the Shadow Kargaroks that in the past were very, very spread out and in a blob to now be in a square formation, so they will be much more closer to each other and much more effective and will never get stuck and will be actually a good unit. It was a really bad unit in the past. They spread out and they got stuck most of the time when they were placed in an AI army. If you played army yourself, you could use them, but they still got stuck in locations and really annoying to use. Same with other units like the Moblins. They had a lot of good units that got stuck trying to enter the battlefield because they used the horde formation. And now, thanks to replacing that formation, all of these units will never get stuck. So they will always be able to reinforce in the battle and will be much more effective. So they have 1 of these, but this unit is available to both. And they have the Shadow Messengers, unique to Sant, before the Civil War is over. Really good infantry unit, 12 attack, 7 shot bonus, 9 defense. Fight the nearby enemy, good morale, can't hide, very good stamina. Okay, we have the Bodyguard, which is just a Twilight Infantry unit. Really bad Bodyguard. Okay, then we have the second army. It's not a full-sized army, but they have the cavalry, Avatar of Majora. Siege Indian cavalry, it's like an elephant. And they have 4 of them. Built as a glance, special attack, bonus fighting cavalry, fighting nearby enemy, good morale, can't hide. Good stamina, fast moving, 20 melee attack, 20 missile attack, shot bonus 8, but I don't believe they can shoot anything. Could be wrong. I will check that in the files later. Okay, then they have another Shadow Kargarok unit and Shadow Messengers. They have the Shadow Bloats, and by the way, this unit is very likely to crash when you have the camera on it if you use the AUI.bat file to start the game or an executable.bat. You need to use the M2TV EOP tool or the Medieval Total War Engine Overhaul Project tool if you use this unit in a battle. Same with the Masura Cavalry of the Dark Knights, but unlike this unit, the Masura are less likely to crash. I believe they too crash way too often without using the tool, but this unit is the worst one. It crashes immediately if you have the camera on it. I managed to play without the tool when I actively avoided having the camera on the actual units because I were afraid this one would show up and crash the game. Okay, so always use M2DV EOP tool or the Medieval Total War Engine Overhaul Project tool. It's included with the game. You find it in the directory of the game. It's an exe file, M2DV EOP.exe. click that one and you get the launcher, then start the game using that. When you fight the Shadow Bloats, or when you fight the Masura on a Windows XP or a Windows 7. On a Windows 10 it's worse, because on a Windows XP or Windows 7 it's only this unit and the Masura that is a problem. Any other unit should be able to work fine in battle with the AUI.bat file or the executable.bat file. But on a Windows 10 it's worse, because any single entity unit, crash on Windows 10. With that I mean like King Ganon, Eora, Girahim, Fi, Socaris, the Ugly, the Giant Spiders, etc. All of them crash if you do not use the M2V EUP tool, so you need to use it on Windows 10. On a Windows XP or Windows 7 you can get away with using the AUI.bat file, like I do all the time, if you do not fight this unit and the Masura Cavalry of the Darkness. The reason you want to use the AUI.bat file instead of the M2V EUP tool is because the M2V EUP tool bugs out the cavalry, so the chariot cavalry, so the chariots of the Icanians, the Kingdom of Icana, they won't show their riders anymore, and also the units that are based on chariots, like the gunner posts of Labrina or the Kokir barricades or the Goron bomb platforms. They will lose their gunners and their Kokiri slingshots and their Goron bomb throwers. You will only see the platform, the gunner post, but not the gunners, and the Kokiri barricade, but not the actual slingshots behind the barricade, because for some reason the chariot units and any unit that is modeled on a chariot unit will the riders will be they will be removed. They are in the battle and they will fire. They are invisible. The model is removed for some reason. And when you use the AI.bat file or the executable.bat file, then you will have them fully working and visible. But as I said, on Windows 10, it's not just this unit and the Masura that crashes the game. It's every single giant and four-legged unit like the spiders. So you will have a lot of crashes without the tool, and I think it's better to play with the tool, even if certain units like the chariots have invisible riders. It's more worth it to play using the tool than to play with a lot of CTD or crashes to desktop. But on a Windows 7 or XP, I think it's better to play using the AI.bat file, because you want to see the gunners and the slingshots and such on their platforms and behind their gunner posts and such. But I do use the tool whenever I fight these units, and because I'm playing the Twilight here, Twilight faction, I knew this would be in the battle, so I'm using the tool right now, so we won't have a crash with that. But it's a really powerful unit. It's like 1 unit or 3. I don't remember if it's 1 or 3 per unit. Could be 3. They 10 attack, 13 missile attack, really good missile attack, same as Hylia, the false god is really powerful. Abilities to glance, special attack. In the past, I believe Hylia had a Greek fire projectile, but projectile of this Shadow Bloat is more like Hylia's attack from the videos, so I changed it to that. It's also more powerful and more epic. Special attack, bonus fighting cavalry, long range missiles, right in every enemy, good morale, can't hide, good stamina. So yeah, this is a cool unit. It's the same unit as this hero, by the way. Olg, the Shadow Bloat pet of King Sant that he raised when it was since it was little. Okay, so Sant has 2 armies. Midna has 1. Midna has also some Twilight infantry. Have way more Shadow Kargaroks. And have the Soul Nurses, they are really good. Throw like grenades or magical beams. They work like grenades. So they are like the Grenadiers, the Labrinians, but they are very fast. I've changed the Labrinian Grenadiers to not be as fast. I mean, in the current release they are probably just as fast, but in this version the Labrinians are back to being normal humans like they should have been all along. I didn't purposefully give them too fast speed. I copied and tried this unit when I added that unit, and they became very fast. But now they're back to being normal humans running around throwing grenades, while Soul Nurses, they are very fast. They are not humans, They're a mix between Gerudo, fairies, and Shrek, I believe. Okay, and twisted by the Twilight realm over thousands of years. Okay, can't see their stats. Here we can see them. 7 melee attack, 30 in a unit, not that many. 20 missile attack, they have really good attack. Can kill any unit in one shot. 17 defense, armor. Effective against armor, they penetrate any armor of the enemy, so enemy armor don't count. Excellent morale, can't hide. Then they have a soul cannon. It's a really good cannon, but it can often hit your own troops. That's why I don't like using it. It has a very high percentage of hitting your own troops. The accuracy is not good. It shoots a beam into the air, and then it divides into many different beams, landing a little bit here and there. Okay, so the Midna faction has the stronger army, but the smaller numbers. I think we could attack actually. No, we can't. We can't move anymore this time. We'll have to end the turn. We'll pause the recording here. I don't like the long ending turns. They take like 2 minutes, so see you soon. Alright, we're back. Turn 3, Royal Betrayal. Don't care. End of turn report. So the Undead Stalfos have the strongest military on turn 3. The Uka always has the best financial situation. The Runa province has the best production. The Gorons have the largest population in the beginning. Overall, the Stalfos is the strongest. Okay. Nonsense. Okay. Doesn't really matter. Here's the soldier of the Twilight faction. Move these troops to reinforce. They need more troops in the battle. I'm using a trainer right now, so I can...
Activated.
Surprised. I'm using a trainer. I just hadn't activated it, so I can move longer. Add another soldier. But a shame that I didn't have it activated. I wasted the movements there. Okay. Okay. I think we want to attack with the smaller army and under General Sorrent. It's a bodyguard of Twilight Infantry 2. They're really boring bodyguards. Shadow Kargaroks. Okay, Twilight Infantry. Here's the cavalry unit, the Twilight Spider Swarm. really good actually. 2 total defense, 6 charge bonus, 1 attack, but they count as an engine. They are really good cavalry actually. In the past, in the previous version that is released right now, I believe they had like 4 units in a unit, so they were really bad, but they saw in I didn't know that this unit had been changed like that. I mistook it for an elephant because it's using the same kind of coding as an elephant. That's why they are really powerful. So in the 4.6 version of Hyrule War, this unit and the Force of Twilight is still the same. I believe Sand's faction was removed, but Midna's faction is still there and includes Sand too. And this unit had like 134 soldiers and such. I copied the code for that one. So we are back at having 134. So this is the only cavalry unit of the Twilight faction, only in use by Midna in the Civil War. And yeah, if you do not count these guys, the Avatar Majora, Single Entity Giants or the Shadow Bloats, both of them are cavalry too, but they count as more like elephant cavalry. These guys, they are similar but very small in numbers. Okay, really good unit. Okay, we will attack. They have the upper hand. We'll still fight the battle. We'll say the game. And yeah, we can fight the battle on the battle map. This is King Sand with his helmet. The other model looked like this. 2011, I believe, or 2012. So when Sant invades Hyrule, he will have this model instead of the one with his face. That's only happening when the AI is controlling the faction. If he loses the Civil War response in Hyrule. Okay. Start deployment. This is the Twilight Realm, very weird landscape with a red sky and yeah, very weird landscape, really immersive. And we have the Twilight General here. By the way, I fixed the officer. She had the wrong, I believe, Twilight main 1 in use texture file. Same with Santi, had the Santi main 1. So by changing to Santi main 2 and Twilight main 2, I fixed it. So now she looks as she should. In the current release, I believe she has the wrong texture, so everything is messed up. Yeah, so she has been fixed. Okay, we will pause the recording here. I need to start the actual third-person mode season. Right, I'm back, and it worked. So, as we can see the army. We have the Twilight infantry, the basic infantry, then we have the Shadow Kargaroks. Now they are in a square formation, so they are not as widespread. If we group them, all the Shadow Kargaroks, place them in loose formation to spread them out a bit. Yeah, they are still not that spread out. That's probably why they use the horde formation, which makes them be in a round ring instead of in a square, and they spread out more. But here they are in a square and will not ever get stuck when entering the battlefield. It's a big improvement, and they work much better in the battle. Previously they get stuck, and even if they enter the battle, they ended up like distancing themselves from each other way too much, and very annoying in certain settlements. And they got stuck and such. I believe they work much better now. We have the Soul Cannon. It'll be in loose formation, fire at will on. It won't be in an actual group. Move it over there. The infantry. We don't need skill transformation because we are not fighting a cavalry focused army. Sant doesn't have any cavalry except the Majora guys. We do have a cavalry unit, the spiders. Twilight Spider Swarm. They are 134 as you saw. This is how they look. Twilight Spiders. They are actually pretty good. It says light cavalry, but they are actually really effective. Okay, and we have the Soul Nurses. We can just place here. We don't want them in a group either, because I feel they are better used as fire at will troops. The AI might suicide them in melee. These are the Soul Nurses of the forces of the Twilight. Really good looking model. Okay, and the General's bodyguard. The General. Okay, so the groups. The Soul Nurses and the Soul Cannon will fire at will. They won't be in an AI army. And the army will attack. Pause the game. Reinforcement. General Sorant is arriving. Order the army to attack. Still order our troops, the Soul Nurses, to attack, but we do not want them to be AI controlled because they would waste the troops. As you can see, no, it wasn't the officer, it was the banner carrier that was fixed, and we can see this one is also fixed, the texture. Here we have Shadow Messengers, Sans Twilight faction, we have the banner carriers, we have the Twilight infantry, we have the Shadow insects. They're really good flying animation. You can see their wings flying and all that. I mean, moving and all that. And yeah, this is the first army. The general and the Twilight infantry bodyguard. Then we have our reinforcements. Here, just 2 units of Twilight infantry with a general. And then we have the enemy reinforcement coming from over here. So they have 2 armies. We have 1, but our army is better. I believe they might still win due to their numbers. We'll see. So the soul nurses need to fire at something. So the Sand faction doesn't have any ranged units in the beginning. They need to take Elmencia, get the sorceresses, I believe. And because I used the trainer to just quickly assemble all the troops of Midnight and all the troops of Sand except their custom heroes, and to have a giant battle between all their starting troops. They do not have any ranged units, so Sand, I guess they could get away with just attacking the infantry then. And because these shadow messengers are really good, we want them to fire on them, of course. Okay. Let's start the battle. So the forces of the Twilight is certainly a faction I want to play in this mod later. Can run. But of course I don't want to play them for real until the mod is actually 100% ready to be played, and that's soon, but not yet. I'm just right now gonna try out that Impa script. I need to take the entire Twilight Realm. We need to lose his Midna, so that Imp Midna spawns. The computer has been on for a long time, by the way, so we could experience some lag here. Had it on for like 5 or so days. That's what happens when I mod. I don't shut it down because my computer is extremely slow when I started. Extremely slow. Meaning that it takes forever to start it up, so I rarely shut it down, and especially when I mod, because sometimes when I have shut down the Notepad++ tool I've had issues. Wait a second, that source... it's the siege engine. It didn't have any sorceresses. I believe now that Sand actually had sorceresses. I need to pause the game. Sand did have sorceresses, just not in the first army. He had sorceresses in the other army. Here we have the Bone of Monks with a new texture. Sand has sorceresses. Ranged units. Then we do not want our unit to waste their shots anymore. They haven't really entered yet with all of their troops. Need them to enter. Let's hurry up, guys. Need to stop the soul nurses from moving too. Okay, we'll attack the ranged units instead. Hard to know what flying units are ours and not. Might be some enemy flying units here. This is a really cool faction. It will be fun to play for real. Of course, I'm updating the mod only so that I can play the best possible version, like I always wanted. But yeah, I thought I'd finished it in 2020, but no, there were things that could be improved. Now it's almost completed. So I've added a script that Midna will turn back into Queen Midna if she reconquers the Twilight Realm from Sand and kills him. And I just need to try it out to see that it works. Then I need to add the Skull Tullas that are not in use in the mod to the Goma faction from certain areas. because I want all the units to be used, and the River Sora will be able to recruit the Moldaric and the Wild Arodas and the Ratchas from Lanayuru rivers in the new version, only from the rivers close to Lanayuru. So when the River Sora take a Lanayuru settlement, they will be able to get those units from those riverbanks, but no others. Had almost added those units to every single riverbank, then I changed my mind. So in 4.6 that they belong to the Goma. Well, they have one eye like the Goma, I don't think they fit there. The Lanayuru province has the Arodas, so it made more sense to add the wild ones to the River Sora, but I don't want them in every single riverbank. They are only available from... They are only present in the area of Lanayuru and Snow Peak, and that's why they should only be available from riverbanks near those areas. The reason they weren't previously in the River Sora is because they are a unit of the wild animals. So I had a choice of, adding more wild animals to the map or adding to a playable faction. I think it's better to add them to a playable faction. Why I didn't make the wild animals actually a real faction that I had planned to do previously was because they can actually convert cities. So when they take Hyrule Prime, for example, they can convert it so it changes from my custom settlement into a vanilla settlement, and didn't want that either. Okay, so we have won here against their first army. It seems to be retreating. It was mostly Twilight infantry and insects. I believe our army has won. Let's move back to the Kargarok unit. Then we will check what is happening. They are sending another army. Oh, we have an enemy here. When we zoomed out, they looked like normal Twilight units. Here we have their Shadow Bloat. This unit will crash if not using the M2EOP tool and having the camera on it. Fuck is their army? We're here. Don't want to fight on a mountain. Okay. We'll send up the soul nurses for now. We'll take out that avatar of Mayora. Really like the terrain of the Twilight realm. It looks very alien, very different. Film did an awesome job on the entire mods terrain and such, but this area is the most impressive. Oh, almost all the soul nurses have been killed here. Move that one to the AI control troops. Let's attack there. A lot of dead troops here. We'll attack the Avatar of Mayora units. And the Shadow Bloats too. They are very dangerous. More dangerous than the Avatar of Mayora. Let's kill them. As they shoot that really deadly beam. Yeah, the M2TV tool. The M2TV.exe, M2TV EOP.exe. You need to use it to play this game on Windows 10, or you would have had a crash immediately when this unit showed up, or the Shadow Bloat, especially the Shadow Bloat. Yeah, these Shadow Kargaroks are no longer a bad unit. I always disliked that unit because it just spread out everywhere and got bugged and didn't reinforce you and the army, and real annoying. Now they are effective and actually worth something. They are effective on the battlefield and they never get stuck. And they don't spread out too much either. I like it.